The train slid into Park Station under a bruise-colored sky, power flickering, the platform loud with vuvuzelas from a match that ended hours ago. Lindiwe Dlamini shifted her backpack and tried not to show how fast her heart was beating. She was used to deadlines and dark rooms, to calling a minister's spokesman at midnight, but tonight was different. In her bag sat a plastic recorder with a voice that could set Gauteng on fire. "You sure about this?" Sifo had asked in a fluorescent-lit cafe in Braamfontein. "People vanish for less." "I'm not publishing a rumor," she'd said. "I'm publishing proof." Proof had a name: Operation Red Dust. A file from a private security contractor suggesting cash-in-transit heists was staged by the same companies paid to stop them. Hit your own armored vans, inflate fear, win bigger tenders. If guards died, collateral for the quarterly report. Her informant, a junior analyst with dead eyes, gave her the recorder like a hot potato. On it, a planning meeting, named voices, date, target. Tomorrow night, a lonely stretch of the N12 near Delmas. A white Toyota Hilux would block the road, decoy light bar on top. The real convoy would arrive 3 minutes later. 3 cars, 1 armored van. Then explosives. "Publish after," the analyst said, "or you'll save the money and not the people." Save the people, she thought now, stepping into the station's warm air and smoke. She was a journalist, not a cop. But the SAP's captain she trusted, Van Wyk, hadn't picked up, and his voicemail had the cheerful message of a man who'd changed networks 3 times. She suspected he'd been leaned on. The other contacts were worse. Her phone buzzed, an unknown number. A pin drop. Delmas District. Coordinates. Then, "If you're coming, come alone." Midnight. The platform lights cut out. The crowd groaned. Load-shedding stage 4 rolled over the city like tide. In the sudden dark, a woman laughed, brittle as glass. Lindiwe saw her reflection in a dead window. 34, hair in a bun, eyes too sharp for friends, and looked away. Outside, Johannesburg was a collage of hazard triangles and candlelit spaza shops, dogs barking at generators, taxis in swarms. She took a ride share. The driver, in a Kaiser Chiefs jersey, talked about the moon and how it made thieves bold. On the M2 they passed a burnt-out van on the shoulder like a carcass left for crows. Blue lights, bored-looking officers, a smell of cordite through the vents. "Bad place to be after midnight," the driver said. "But if you must." "I must," she lied, and got out near the rented flat she used as an office. In the stairwell she paused, listening. A door above creaked shut. She went inside, locked 3 locks, and took out the recorder. Pressed play. Men's voices, crisp as a dictaphone ad. Delicate choreography. 2 minutes 45, swing vehicle from the north. She pressed pause. Called Van Wyk. Voicemail. Her finger hovered over 10,111, the emergency line. She pictured a call taker, the hold music, the dispatch delay, the way coordinates got garbled. If she did nothing, people would die. If she went, she might. She wrote a note in her phone. "If I don't return, file on desktop. Read it. Send to Kanye at City Press." Then she packed a first aid kit, a reflective jacket, an old baseball cap, and a phone battery. She took a breath and texted unknown. "On my way." Midnight in Delmas felt colder than the map suggested. The fields were a dark ocean, the air sweet with rot, and the sky pricked with close stars. Lindiwe parked a borrowed hatchback at a service road and killed the lights. She shrugged on the reflective jacket and cap, slung the camera, and checked her phone. The coordinates pulsed like an accusation. A truck rolled past, its taillights smearing. Then silence. She heard her breath inside the cap, felt grass scratching the bumper. Far off, a dog barked, hopeless and regular. Headlights appeared to the west. One pair. A white Hilux with a wrong roofline. It stopped broadside across the N12. Hazard lights flared. A man climbed out, placed orange cones with rehearsed care. When he turned, she saw the light bar was fake, thin like a toy. He wore black gloves. He never looked at the fields. Lindiwe raised the camera, pressed record, and whispered the time. She kept the lens low, using the grass as a scrim. Her pulse thudded. She wanted to text the analyst, "Are you seeing this?" and remembered he was either hiding or dead. 3 minutes later, a convoy came from the east. 2 sedans and, between them, the armored van, green and heavy, wheels worrying the tar. The Hilux gestured, lights stuttering, and the lead sedan slowed. A passenger leaned out, palm raised. The Hilux driver stepped back and reached into the backie's bed. The first blast ripped the night open. The van's front right tire exploded, the vehicle slumped, and the convoy scattered like startled cattle. Lindiwe flinched, then forced herself to keep filming. A second blast under the lead sedan lifted it at a grotesque angle. Men shouted. The dog went mad. From the west, 2 more vehicles emerged with headlights off, drifting like sharks. Men in balaclavas poured out, moving with terrifying economy. One held a device like a TV remote and clicked it. The armored van's locks answered with a heavy thunk. Not a heist. A transfer. "This is insane," she breathed. The grass hissed as hot shrapnel found it. She smelled diesel, plastic, and fear. Something moved to her left. She turned, heart hammering, and saw a second reflective jacket, 50 meters away in the reeds. A figure crouched, camera raised. Relief, another witness, died when she saw he wasn't facing the road. He was filming her. Her phone vibrated. Unknown. She didn't answer. The figure pinched 2 fingers together, meaning zoom. He was smiling. She ducked lower. A flare ignited near the van, turning everything into harsh theater. In that light, the man in the reeds wasn't a man. He was a mannequin torso inside a jacket, mounted on a stake, a cheap camera tied to it. The smile was a sticker. Her mouth went dry. The signal had lured her to a baited blind. On the tar, the van's back doors yawed open. Instead of cash crates, she saw black cases with biohazard sigils, webbed in straps. Men lifted them with reverence into the third car. Her brain refused the logic and then accepted it. The heist was theater for something uglier than money. Behind her, an engine idled. A stone clicked. She didn't turn. Gravel whispered under boot soles. The idling deepened, a note like breath through a door. A beam of light stitched between stalks and found her sleeve, the reflective tape flashing back betrayal. She lay flat and tasted earth, pesticide and copper at her throat. The light slid away and returned, slower, as if savoring prey. They took her without a word, one hand on each elbow, lifting her from the reeds as if she were a badly made scarecrow. A Hessian sack went over her head that smelled of mealy meal and oil. She kept her mouth shut, didn't fight, counted footsteps, then ruts, then the hollow drumbeat of a bridge. The car stopped twice, once for a gate, once for a train whose horn moaned like an animal, and then turned down a gravel drive. When the sack came off, she was in a shed with corrugated walls, a single bulb, and a curling Springboks poster. Garden tools hung in rows. Her captors were unremarkable. Boots, jeans, T-shirts with security company logos, faces that would blend in anywhere. One had a cleft chin, another's eyes never aligned. "Ms. Dlamini," said a voice behind her. She didn't turn until she had to. "I'm glad you came alone." She recognized the man from conferences about safety that ran straight into golf days. De Klerk, a director at Sentinel Response Group. Graying, tanned, pulse visible at his temple. He wore a navy fleece and the hands of someone who no longer lifted things. "This is kidnapping," she said. Her voice sounded steadier than her knees felt. "This is conversation," he said mildly. "You brought a camera. That complicates it. You staged a national crime scene to move." "What?" He considered. "Dangerous materials, under a certain level of oversight. Material that can ruin lives if an idiot opens a lid. Material that needs to go away from where it is." "Biohazards," she said. "From whom?" "People who would misuse them," he said. "Fear pays better than cash." The door banged. Van Wyck entered, dust on his jacket. He removed his cap, eyes flicking to hers, then away. Her stomach dropped. "You too." "I told you to stay out of this," Van Wyck muttered. "You left me no choice." De Klerk lifted his hands. "Your story is incomplete. We stage the heists because the state cannot keep anything safe. Tenders go to whoever makes the loudest case. In the gap, men like me make it. Some blood is spilled, more is prevented." "By you," she said. "How noble." He tilted his head. "You enjoy moral math. The cases contain cultures that should have been destroyed when a Pretoria lab closed. They weren't. They were offered to buyers. We intercepted." "Interception involves saps," she said, nodding at Van Wyck. "Not pantomime explosions." "Saps leaks," Van Wyck said. "If Sentinel moves them, they leave tomorrow on a plane we can track. If the tender crowd moves them, we never see them again. So I should sit quietly while you profit." De Klerk sighed. "Profit moves things here. If you publish, it all goes underground. You'll also die." He glanced at the misaligned-eyed man. "Peter is impatient. I prefer civilized outcomes." The bulb flickered. Nightjars called. A generator coughed. Lindiwe thought of her grandmother's stoop in Bushbuckridge, stars low as fruit. "What happens if I walk out?" she asked. "You'll be followed home," de Klerk said. "You will trip. It will look like crime. And if I agree to hold the story?" "You get access," he said. "You get an exclusive on a safer world." It would be so easy to believe him. He'd even given her the line. "May I use the bathroom?" she asked. "Please." He nodded. "Van Wyck, escort her." She nodded, eyes down. A plan formed, time, a door, a phone, and trick, noise and light elsewhere. The bathroom was a corner cell with a cracked basin, a small meshed window, and a door that didn't reach the floor. Van Wyck stood outside, shifting from foot to foot. Lindiwe flushed, turned the tap, and slid her phone from her sock. The screen lit her palm. Signal flickered. She typed with her thumbs. Delmas farm shed. Sentinel. Cases with bio signs. Police compromised. Stream soon. She sent it to Kanye, to Sifo, to a group of stringers who owed her, and posted a single line on her burner. "N12 tonight. Look." She killed the screen. She unscrewed the bulb. The room fell dim. She slid the bulb under the door and rolled it until it ticked into the corridor. "Careful," Van Wyck said, bending. She yanked the door hard, slamming it into his knee, and hurled herself past him. He swore, grabbed at her jacket, and got a fistful of reflective tape. It tore. She ran. The shed opened onto a yard. Two backies, the armored van, a generator growling. Men turned slow, sure. She sprinted for the generator. A cable snaked from it to a floodlight. She yanked the plug. Dark fell. Someone shouted, "Ston!" A shot cracked near her ear. She kept going blind. Diesel stung. She twisted the cap and sloshed fuel. She flicked her lighter. The flame caught. Heat shoved her back. Men cursed. She tore through smoke toward the fence and hit it hip first, barbs taking denim. She rolled, scrabbled, and dropped into a ditch. Lindiwe. Van Wyck. Close. Wrecked. Stop, man. You'll get yourself killed. She ran along the ditch to a culvert and into felt. The night opened. Stars, dry grass, the far glow of another farm. Behind her, engines coughed alive. Headlights combed. She zigzagged to the blue gums and dropped. Her phone buzzed in her palm. Kanye, typing. Another buzz. Unknown number. She answered. "Keep moving east," said a flat voice. "R50 is 2 kilometers. Run until the fence dips. There is a culvert. We'll meet you." Who is this? A beat. You know. She did. The analyst or not. She ran. A lighter engine whined. Blue lights flickered. She reached the dip, slid under cold corrugate, and belly crawled through thin water. On the far side, hands pulled her up. "Here," said a shaved-head paramedic. "Friend of a friend." The ambulance had no markings. Inside smelled of diesel. She climbed in. They moved. Sirens off. The paramedic checked her pupils, then handed her water and a towel. "Your tweet did it," he said. "Sentinel doesn't like eyes." The R50 unspooled, empty. Behind them, a column of smoke rose and unwound in the wind. Her phone blinked. Kanye's video request. She accepted. Her soot-black face filled the frame, voice steady. "Live. No names. We say what we can prove." They streamed, the decoy Hilux, blasts, transfer, cases with symbols. She kept Van Wyck out. The feed hiccuped, then stabilized as other phones joined. By dawn, SAPs cordoned a farm. Sentinel called it training, then a repelled hijacking, then refused comment. De Klerk vanished. The cases were gone. At noon, back in her flat, she opened the recorder. A new file, time-stamped 3/11. Her voice. "We say what we can prove." Then a second voice, amused and close, one she hadn't heard in the shed. "Proof is choreography," it said. "Thank you for the show." She checked the door. 3 locks. No marks. Outside, the city hummed. Somewhere, a dog barked, regular as a metronome.